Good morning, everyone. Let us start the same chapter, Resources and Development, and we'll continue this chapter. Chapter 1, Class 10, Geography. There are different contents which I have discussed with you in my previous videos. That resource, what is a resource, classification of resource, sustainable development, resource and planning, land resource, land degradation, and soil as a resource, the different types of soil erosion and conservation of resources. So far we have discussed about what is a resource and the classification of resources, that resources can be classified on the basis of origin, on the basis of exhaustibility, on the basis of ownership. Then we have discussed about the resources on the basis of a status of development. We have also discussed about the exclusive economic zone, and finally we have discussed about what is the territorial waters and contiguous zone. And at last I had given you one assignment which I think and I hope that you must have done it. Today we will discuss development of resources and sustainable development. Let us discuss about development of resources. Resources are vital for human survival as well as for maintaining the quality of life. It was believed that resources are free gifts of nature. As a result, human beings used them indiscriminately, and this has led to the different types of problems, and this has led to create different types of problems in different parts of the world, right? Development of resources is the efficient and optimum utilization of resources that are used by us for our various needs and contribute to the growth of the economy. It is also important for our survival. It is also important for the economic growth. It is also important for industrialization, for industrial development. You can say for industrial development, right? It is also important for export and import, right? And it also generates the different types of employment. Okay, but in the beginning the people misunderstood it, that these are a free gift of nature, so we can use it without any planning, without focusing on sustainable development, that the human beings used all types of free gift of nature recklessly without any proper planning. So that has created number of problems. The problems that depletion of resources, the first one was that the depletion of resources began. Okay, depletion of resources because they did not have any idea about the non-renewable or renewable resources. So depletion of resources have already been done from the earth's surface, and it takes millions of years, as you know, that some resources takes millions of years as far as the formation is concerned. So that was one of the most important and major problem, that depletion of resources began, right? And that too for satisfying the greed of few individuals. Few individuals, I mean, either it was concentrated in the few hands, or in fact that in the few countries, the few developed countries, that they depleted the resources on larger scale. Then the second one was accumulation of resources in few hands. It was collected by few countries, the technology developed, and with the development of technology, that the developed countries started accumulating the resources without taking care of the other countries. Okay, so that has created, in fact, or divided the society into two segments, poor and rich, right? And then the third one was, and that was the very very important after effect or the consequence and the negative consequence, and that was what it has led to the global economic crisis, such as global warming, okay, ozone layer depletion, environmental pollution, and land degradation. Land degradation, faulty method of agriculture, then excessive use of fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides, okay, over irrigation, due to which that the land started degrading, and then environmental pollution, the different types of factories, the different factories and industries started emitting poisonous gases, okay, and these industries, and not only poisonous gases, but the gases which created lot of, that has in fact deteriorated the quality of air, right, and then the ozone layer depletion due to pollution, that you can see that the depletion of the ozone layer began, and then you can see further all these have led to the global climatic change. There is a imbalance in ecology, there is an imbalance in ecosystem. So all these have started taking place due to improper planning of the resources, improper utilization, I can say improper utilization of the resources, okay. Then the second one, as I'm going to discuss with you, is your sustainable development. Sustainable development, in fact, is a subset. But how? Subset of what? Subset of resource planning. But before this, before taking up this topic, I would like to tell you that an equitable distribution of resources has led or has become essential for sustained quality of life and global peace. If there would be equitable, or if there would be equal distribution of resources among developing, underdeveloped or developed countries, definitely we would have the quality of life, and that would sustain the quality of life, and that too at global level. So if the present trend of resource depletion by few individuals and the countries continues, the future of our planet is in danger, because there would be, without thinking about our future generation, if we are using it recklessly, definitely a time would come when our future generation would not or would face in fact the problem and would not have any kind of resources left, right. So the future of our planet would be in danger. Therefore resource planning is essential, okay. Then for equal distribution of resources among all different countries, among developing, developed and underdeveloped countries, resource planning is very, very important, and sustainable existence of all forms of life. I mean, resource planning is essential for sustainable existence of all forms of life, and sustainable existence is a component of sustainable development. Now, the word is here sustainable development. But what is this sustainable development? Resource planning is essential, as just now I told you, for the sustainable existence of all forms of life. As far as the sustainable economic development means, what does this word mean? Sustainable economic development. Sustainable economic development means development should take place without damaging the environment. Development can take place. Definitely nobody is there in the world who is going to stop you as far as the developmental work is concerned. We can develop, or we can develop any part of the world, any region of the world, but provided that damage should not take place. Okay, damage of the environment should not take place. We should take care of the environment, and then sustainable development can only take place. And development in the present should not compromise with the needs of future generation. Got it? I mean, we'll have to take care of our future generation. For them only, we need to focus on sustainable development. Got it? Sustainable development is the development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Suppose at present we are utilizing the resources and we are meeting our demands, we are satisfying our needs and requirements, and what will happen to the future generation? If they would face the problems like depletion of the resources, how can they meet their own demands? How can they fulfill their own demands? How can they satisfy their needs? Right? So the concept of the complete concept of resource would go in vain if we would not focus on sustainable development. So sustainable development is of course important, and as it saves national budget, fulfills the need of people, conserves the natural resources and helps in coordination between natural resources and people, and conserves natural resources for future generation. Okay, so sustainable, for example, I'm giving you one example, that if construction is taking place in any place, right, construction or construction work is taking place in any part of the earth's surface, then building, suppose that if the construction process have started taking place, but construction can go, but one thing that should be kept in mind, that the area from where, or the area in which the construction is taking place should not damage the environment, should not create any problem as far as the ecology and ecosystem is concerned. Development on the one hand and sustainable, construction on one hand and the sustainable development on other hand. So both of these can go simultaneously if we would have resource planning. Okay, this is very, very important. Building a new community in previously undeveloped area without destroying the ecosystem or harming the ecosystem, harming the environment, is an example of sustainable development, right? Then comes Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit. What was that? And this Rio de Janeiro, what was the objective of this Earth Summit? In fact, let me give you a brief history of this, that the first Earth Summit took place in Stockholm in Sweden in 72, the second in Nairobi, Kenya, and third one in 82, third one in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, and 1992, which we'll have to discuss about, and the fourth in Johannesburg, where in South Africa in 2002, and Earth Summit called Rio Plus 20, and that took place in Rio de Janeiro in 2012. Okay, in 2012. So in this way, this is not given here in your book, but for your knowledge I have given you the history of this, that first took place in 72 and the last one in 2012. Now, let us discuss about Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit. In June 1992, more than 100 heads of states met in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil for the first International Earth Summit. For the first International Earth Summit, the different heads of the heads of the different states. Here, states means what? The different countries. Okay. The summit was convened for addressing urgent problems of environmental protection and socio-economic development, right? Socio-economic development at the global level. Now, when we saw that there is a ecological imbalance or ecosystem, there is an imbalance in ecosystem, land degradation and ozone layer depletion. So the people thought that it's better to focus on, it's better to address these burning agendas, right? This is the burning topic of today's world, right? That environmental protection. The people started focusing on environmental development, environmental protection and socio-economic development at global level. The assembled leaders signed the Declaration on Global Climatic Change and Biological Diversity, that we have to conserve biological diversity. Okay, and the Rio Convention endorsed the global forest principles, adopted what? Agenda 21. Agenda 21 for achieving sustainable development in 21st century. Got it? So this Agenda 21 is a non-binding action plan of the United Nations with regard to sustainable development. I told you that sustainable development is a part of resource planning, and now I'm telling you that this Agenda 21 is a part of sustainable development. Okay, and it's a product of Earth Summit. And what were the aims of this Agenda 21? To achieve global sustainable development, to achieve global sustainable development, and just to combat environmental damage and poverty, diseases through global cooperation on common interests and mutual needs and shared responsibilities among the heads of the different countries. Okay, we should fight against all the problems related to environment and ecology together. That was the most important agenda and the objective of Agenda 21. Okay, then one major objective of Agenda 21 is that every local government should draw its own local Agenda 21, and then if the local government should draw, it is quite obvious that we can apply it at national level and then finally at international level. Okay, so this is that was about your Agenda 21, and let me recapitulate. We have discussed about development of resources, and I hope you must have understood development of resources, and the development of resources as well as indiscriminate use of resources led various problems like depletion of resources, accumulation of resources in few hands, and indiscriminate exploitation of resources led to the global ecological crisis. Okay, and then we have discussed about what is sustainable development and Agenda 21. Okay, Agenda 21. So that's all for today. Thank you.